the young, and the restless spoilers. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is a beautiful Tuesday, but honestly, I am still recovering from last night's episode. Grab your coffee or whatever you need, because we have to unpack this absolute madness together. I cannot believe they did that. I am literally typing this at 2 a.m. because my brain will not shut off, and I desperately need to get this out of my system before I explode. I mean, are you kidding me right now? I have been watching this show religiously since 2015, and I have seen some wild, unhinged cliffhangers in my time. But this one actually had me screaming at my television screen. My neighbors probably think I am losing my mind, but I don't even care. We have to talk about Matt Clark crawling to Phyllis's door, bleeding out on her floor, and Victor Newman's absolute God complex. I am so worked up I can barely feel my fingers typing. But let's just dive right into it. React first, explain later, right? So the knock on the door, Phyllis is just minding her own business, probably pacing around her place, plotting her next move against Christine or trying to figure out how to save her company from total collapse. And then there is this ominous heavy knock, and you just knew something bad was on the other side. The camera angles, the moody lighting, the suspenseful music, it was all giving major horror movie vibes. And then she opens the door, and there he is, Matt Clark. But not the smug, arrogant, suit-wearing Matt we are used to seeing strutting around the athletic club, acting like he owns the place. No, this was a completely broken, battered, and bloody Matt. He was literally crawling on the floor, crawling. The sheer amount of blood was actually shocking for daytime TV. I was sitting there with my jaw on the floor, just staring at Michelle Stafford's face as Phyllis processed what she was looking at. But here is the thing that really gets me. Matt wasn't just hurt, he was aggressive. Even in that state, crawling on the floor and bleeding heavily, he had this feral, wild look in his eyes. He was like a wounded animal that will bite anyone who gets too close. You could see the pure adrenaline and rage keeping him conscious. He escaped from Victor Newman's cellar. Let that sink in for a second. He managed to break out of whatever dark, twisted dungeon Victor threw him in, fighting for his life, and somehow dragged himself all the way to Phyllis's place. And then, the moment that made me want to throw my remote at the wall. Matt looks up at Phyllis, gasping for air, clutching his bleeding side, and says, "I was kidnapped." And then he passes out. Before he can say the name, before he can say, "Victor did this to me," he just faints. I mean, of course he did, because this is a soap opera, and they are never, ever going to give us the satisfaction of a clean reveal right away. I was yelling at my screen, "Just say his name, Matt." It's one word, Victor, but no. His eyes roll back, and he collapses in a pool of his own blood on Phyllis's expensive rug. I know some people are loving this suspense, but personally, I am so frustrated. Why do they always do this? Remember when they tried this exact same trope with insert literally any character who has ever been attacked? Someone is always passing out right before the big reveal. It is exhausting, but honestly, it works, because here I am typing furiously about it in the middle of the night, completely obsessed with what happens next. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, back to the point. Let's talk about Victor Newman's cellar. We all know Victor is the one who kidnapped him. We know Victor had him locked up because Victor thinks he is the judge, jury, and executioner of Genoa City. Victor Newman has this insane God complex where he truly believes he can just disappear people when they become inconvenient to his family. He did it with Jack, he's done it with countless others, and now he did it with Matt. But the sheer arrogance of Victor to think he could just hold Matt Clark, a man who is basically a cockroach who survives every single apocalyptic event thrown at him in a cellar, and expect him not to fight back. Victor completely underestimated him. Matt is dangerous. When Matt gets pushed into a corner, he doesn't just cower and beg for mercy. He becomes lethal. The fact that Matt got out means someone at the Newman Ranch messed up big time, or Matt went absolutely savage on a guard. I desperately need to see the flashback of how he escaped. I need to see the moment Matt broke the chains or smashed a chair over someone's head and fought his way out into the night. So Matt escapes. He is bleeding heavily. And where does he go? He doesn't go to the hospital. He doesn't go to the police, because Matt knows that Victor owns the police, and Victor probably has people on the payroll at Memorial Hospital. No, Matt goes to Phyllis. Am I the only one who finds this absolutely fascinating? Of all the doors in Genoa City, he knocks on hers. Why? Because they have this incredibly twisted, toxic, chaotic alliance right now. He was working for her, and in Matt's twisted, trauma-addled brain, Phyllis is the only person who hates the Newmans enough to actually protect him from Victor. He knows Phyllis won't immediately call the cops. He knows Phyllis operates in the gray area. It is such a brilliant, desperate character choice for him to drag his bleeding body to her doorstep. And let's talk about Phyllis's reaction. Michelle Stafford deserves an Emmy for those 30 seconds alone. The shock, the horror, the immediate calculation in her eyes. She didn't scream. She didn't run away. She just looked at this bloody mess on her floor and immediately went into survival mode. She drops down. She starts giving him first aid, putting pressure on the wounds. Phyllis Summers getting her hands dirty, literally covered in Matt Clark's blood. It was such a visceral, intense scene. And what does she do next? She calls a doctor, a private doctor, not the police, because Phyllis is smart. She knows that if she calls Paul or Chance or whoever is running the GCPD these days, Victor will find out immediately. If Matt is hiding from someone, Phyllis wants to know who it is before she plays her cards. She realizes in that split second that having a half-dead Matt Clark in her living room is the ultimate leverage. But here is the million-dollar question for Phyllis. Who is the kidnapper? We know it's Victor, but does Phyllis know? When Matt said I was kidnapped, Phyllis's mind must have been racing through a list of suspects. Who wants Matt dead? Literally half the town. Will she suspect Victor? Probably. Victor is always at the top of the list when someone goes missing or turns up bleeding. But what about Nick? Nick has been spiraling out of control lately. Nick is in rehab, supposedly, but Phyllis knows how much Nick hates Matt for what he did to Sharon and Noah. Could Phyllis convince herself that Nick broke out of rehab, kidnapped Matt, and tortured him in a blind rage? That would be a massive twist. I kind of want her to suspect Nick just for the drama of it all. It would make her so conflicted about whether to turn Matt in or protect her ex-husband. Oh, what about Adam? Adam has been acting sketchy lately, running around Vegas, dealing with Riza, and doing whatever Adam does when he's feeling destructive. Phyllis hates Adam. She would love to pin this on him. The mystery of who is the kidnapper, from Phyllis's perspective, is going to drive the next month of storylines, and I am entirely here for it. Wait. Let's take a step back and appreciate the absolute delicious irony of this entire situation. Remember back in May when Phyllis secretly kidnapped Matt? She locked him in a dark cellar, tied him up, and screamed at him to confess his plots against the Newmans so she could use it as a bargaining chip with Victor. And Sienna had to rescue him. I mean, the full circle poetry of this is staggering. A few months ago, Phyllis was the one holding him hostage in a cellar, terrifying him. Now, Matt has escaped someone else's cellar and is bleeding on her floor, begging for her help. You cannot write better soap karma than that. Do you think Phyllis is looking at him thinking, wow, karma really comes for us all? Probably not, because Phyllis never thinks she's wrong about anything. But as a viewer, I am cackling at the irony. So what happens now? The doctor's going to come patch Matt up, and Phyllis is going to have to hide him. Can you imagine the sheer comedy and tension of Phyllis trying to hide a severely injured, aggressive Matt Clark in her place? Someone is definitely going to come knocking, probably Summer or Daniel, or worse, Victor himself, because Victor's going to realize Matt escaped. The mustache is going to be furious. He will have his security team tearing Genoa City apart looking for him. And Victor knows that Matt and Phyllis have a connection. Victor's going to show up at Phyllis's door demanding answers while Matt is literally bleeding in the next room. The tension is going to be unbearable, and I am going to love every single second of it. And how is Matt going to act when he wakes up? The spoilers said he was aggressive before he passed out. Matt is not going to be a grateful, compliant patient. He is going to be paranoid, feral, and dangerous. He might even turn on Phyllis. He's trapped, he's in pain, and he knows Victor is hunting him. A cornered Matt Clark is the most dangerous Matt Clark. I am genuinely scared for Phyllis, even though she can usually hold her own against anyone. I know some people are loving this whole Victor being ruthless era, but personally, I am getting a little exhausted by Victor always winning. I want Phyllis and Matt to team up and actually take Victor down a peg. I want Matt to wake up, tell Phyllis exactly what Victor did to him, and I want them to launch a counterattack that rocks Newman Enterprises to its core. Victor crossed a major line by locking someone in a cellar again, and he needs to face consequences for acting like he is above the law. But let's be real, it's Victor. He never faces consequences. He'll probably just yell, "You got that?" And everyone will back down. But maybe, just maybe, Phyllis is the wild card he didn't account for. Phyllis has nothing to lose right now. Her company's in trouble. Her kids are stressed. She's facing legal threats from Christine. If she can use Matt to blackmail Victor, she absolutely will. And how does this affect everyone else? Think about Sharon. Sharon is already panicked about Nick and Noah. If she finds out Matt is on the loose, bleeding and aggressive, she is going to lose her mind. She is going to think he is coming for her. And Nick is in rehab doing puzzles with Marie Kirkland, trying to get clean and fight his demons. If Nick finds out Matt escaped Victor's clutches, it might trigger another massive relapse. The ripple effects of this one escape are going to touch every single character on the canvas. I mean, imagine the scene when Nick finds out he is already on the edge. He already tried to kill Matt in Vegas when he was high on fentanyl. If he thinks Matt is out there plotting revenge, Nick is going to abandon his recovery and go on a manhunt. And Adam will try to stop him. And it will just be this huge Newman brother brawl. And what about Diane? She is missing, dealing with her own kidnapper, Dr. Markham. Genoa City is basically just a giant kidnapping ring at this point. Everyone is getting locked in cellars or padded rooms. It is absolute chaos. And I am eating it up, but seriously, the visual of Matt crawling on that floor is going to stay with me. It was so gritty. Usually Y&R is all about glamorous people drinking in the athletic club, but this felt raw. it felt dangerous. When Matt grabbed Phyllis's ankle or whatever and looked up at her, chills, actual chills. I just hope they don't drag out the who is the kidnapper mystery for too long. Phyllis needs to find out it was Victor quickly so they can start plotting. If she spends 3 weeks suspecting Billy Abbott or something ridiculous, I am going to be so annoyed. She needs to know it's Victor, and she needs to use it. I'm sorry, but this is why I watch this show. Even when it frustrates me, even when characters pass out mid-sentence, it gives us these explosive, high-stakes moments that you just can't look away from. The image of Matt on that floor is going to be burned into my brain for a long time. So I need to know what you guys think. Am I the only one who screamed when he passed out? Who do you think Phyllis will suspect first? Do you think she'll hide him or use him as bait to get Victor off her back? Drop your thoughts in the comments or the group chat, because I am going to be awake for at least 3 more hours overanalyzing this. I need to talk to people who get it. All right. I'm going to go rewatch that final scene one more time, analyze the blood spatter on Phyllis's floor, and try to calm down before the sun comes up. See you guys tomorrow for the next episode breakdown.